here for who knows, maybe an hour, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. I'm going to be answering your tennis questions. So if you have one, throw it in the comment section below and let's get started. So, right off the bat, let's give you a little bit of a volley tip, something that's really going to help you um, hit a more powerful volley, but especially be able to handle pace. So, something that gets players in a major trouble at the net is low elbows, jammed elbows. If you're the type of player who struggles hitting volleys, and yes, we're live, so go ahead and throw your comments down below and your questions. If your elbows are low, this actually leads, and your elbows are down, this actually leads to a big backswing. It doesn't matter if it's on your backhand or on your forehand. When you have a low elbow, that's when the racket can go far back. If you want better volleys, then start having your elbows out. And when your elbows are out away from you, then when you turn, your racket will be like a wall. Watch what happens if I drop my elbow. My racket opens up. If I raise my elbow, then my racket's a wall again. We don't want a volley like this. We don't want our racket wide open when we hit a ball. Like for all you golfers, you know, if your racket's open, like you watch most players, you ask them, like, hey, how open should the racket be at contact on a volley? And they'll say, like, oh, probably 45 degrees. If your racket face is open at 45 degrees, do you know what club you have? You have a pitching wedge in golf. Do you think a pitching wedge makes the ball go forward? No, it makes the ball go up. Same thing on the backhand. If you're hitting your volley and your racket is open at 45 degrees, the ball is going to take off just like a pitching wedge. When we hit volleys, we want our racket to be much more straight up and down than we realize. And the way to get your racket more like a wall rather than wide open is see the elbow, is to push the elbow out away from you. This is why I'm not a fan of when coaches have students put a ball in their elbow. Well, if you put a ball in your elbow, look what that does to the racket. Sure, the backswing can be shorter because if you go like this, the ball falls out. But all you've done is just created a scenario where the racket face is wide open. You want your elbow out to create walls, and the ball hits the wall and then goes back. If you do this, the ball goes up. So if you want to hit better volleys, then get your elbows out away from you. And then it's so like people know this on the backhand. You'll hear coaches, they'll say, keep the back elbow up on a backhand volley because when the elbow drops, the racket opens. Well, that relationship of the elbow and the racket is the exact same. And I see your question, so I'm going to answer them in a second. That same relationship is on the forehand too. So why is it that the back elbow needs to be up on the backhand volley, but not on the forehand? It's the same relationship. Get your elbow out and look what that does to the racket. If you see someone like this, you're going to say your backswing's too big. When really the hand is where it needs to be. It's just that the elbow was too low and then that fixes the racket. So for better volleys, you need to look like this, not like this. Get your elbows out, let your opponents be able to smell your armpits. Now, there is one announcement that I have to make right now. If you would like me to analyze your game, whether you want me to go through an entire match of yours, I just did a full match analysis. I might read the review that I just got from the guy this morning. I did a full match analysis, singles match analysis for this guy yesterday, and blown away. Absolutely blown away by the product. And he emailed me back, so I might read that to you. It was 49 minutes long. It was a tournament match, and I took him point by point and I showed him, serving tactics, footwork, returning tactics, and footwork. Um, Absolutely, one of my most favorite things to do is to go through matches for players. If you would like me to analyze your serve, your forehand, your backhand, it doesn't matter. I am running a huge sale right now. If you click on the description of this video right now, if you click, if you need to, just tap the screen and up will pop the name of the live stream. If you look in the description, you will see that the coupon code video50 takes off $50 from my match and stroke analysis lessons. They're called video analysis lessons. So click the link in the description. use the coupon code video 50, and you'll see it in there, and it drops the price from $150 down to 100, but the coupon code can only be used 50 times, so hurry up and use it because it's going to be used 50 times. And if you happen to use that coupon code during the live stream, it will pop up on my computer, and I will call you out, and I will call your name out on the live stream. So we'll make sure that I get that going. So I've got that up on my thing. So make sure you, if you want me to coach you, if you have swing vision and you want me to analyze one of your matches, it's so simple. You order a video analysis lesson, you send me the link. I watch your match from beginning to end. I write all of my notes down, and then I go through the match for you, point by point, drawing on the screen, showing you your tactics, your core positioning, your shot selection, the footwork, the decision making that you have on low volleys versus high volleys, singles versus doubles. I will walk you through step by step. I promise you, it will be the single most important lesson you ever take, and it will be the most helpful lesson you ever take. I guarantee it. So click the link in the description where it says click here to get a video analysis. Use coupon code video50 to take $50 off. But hurry, the coupon code can only be used 50 times. And it was already being used a bunch of times this morning. So the options are, or the availability is dwindling. I would grab it now if you're thinking of doing it, and do it during the next hour during the live stream. I'll call your name out during it if you get it done, if you get it signed up before I get off here. All right, let's see what we got. All right, random or rando name. Sorry. How do you add height to your serve to get it to pass the net? Whenever I try to add speed and force, it just goes straight into the top of the net. Yeah. So here we go. Rando name. So the reason you're having that issue is because of your grip. So your grip, anytime somebody is talking about when I hit the ball really hard, the ball's always hitting the top of the net. It's because you have a forehand grip. So, rando name, let me ask you a question. What spin are you trying to put on your fastest serves? So, rando name, if you're still here, I want you to answer that question. What spin, and there's a reason like I was just talking about the grip, and now I'm talking about spin because there's a reason they're connected. What spin are you trying to put on the ball when you're trying to hit your fastest serves? And when you answer that question, then I will continue with the answer for the rest of how to get the ball in. Hey Ryan, those 20 tips you gave me free were awesome. How do I access again? They were unbelievably helpful. Yeah, you just go to my website. Just go to 2MinuteTennis.net. They're right on my website. You just go to here. I'll show you. 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 Go to 2MinuteTennis.net. I know this is backward, but it's the purple one right here. Just go to my website. If you don't have an account with me, if you do, then just sign in. You'll be taken right here, and then boom, right? There it is. 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 And there we go. And there it is. There's the 20 tips. I'm so glad that you grabbed it, Fiji. Thank you so much. Oh, rando. Okay, so you're trying to put topspin on the ball. So you're saying you hit your fastest serves and the ball is hitting the net, and you're trying to put topspin on the ball? Um, I would be interested to know what grip you're using, rando. And the reason I'm saying I'm interested to know is I don't always I tend to not ask what grip someone uses because I've learned after almost 3 decades of coaching that players actually don't know what grip they use. They know what grip they should use and they know what grip they think they use, but they don't actually know the grip that they use. And the reason is because there are 3 different places where people will change their grip without them even realizing. Sure, they can have a continental grip, but then before they ever serve, they'll change the grip. Or when they get to here, they'll change the grip without even realizing. Or when you get to here, like Camilla Giorgi, you'll change the grip without even realizing. So I don't always ask, I don't like to ask people. I'd be interested, Rando, to do a serve analysis. So if you would like me to analyze your serve and actually teach you how to do it, I'll make you a 45-minute video from beginning to end, teaching you the grip, the body positioning, the toss, the racket path, the leg use, the aiming strategies, everything. Put you side by side with the pros. It will be the single best analysis on your serve and lesson you'll ever take. So if you'd like to get that, it's only $100. You can click the link in the description. Just use coupon code video50, and it drops the price down from 150 down to 100. Otherwise, if you're trying to hit topspin, I mean, you can do the obligatory. Imagine the court is tilted upward, like when you're serving. Imagine the court goes uphill. That's an easy way of thinking of hitting like up more to get the ball to go into the box. That's a nice little swing thought. But I'd be very interested to see your serve, um, just to know what grip you're using, to know if a top spin serve is actually possible. Otherwise, you should not be having the issue. But I'd be interested to see it. And when you sign up for a video analysis, I will make you a full analysis on your serve and teach you exactly how to fix it. But I'd have to see what you're doing. Uh, yeah, so Tron, Tran, you're right about letting the ball drop too low, but the reason people, um, how long am I live? Probably like an hour or so. The reason people let the ball drop is because of their grip. If you have the wrong grip, the last thing you want to do is reach high. If you have a forehand grip, it promotes contacting low because that's when the ball goes in. But then if you hit really fast, then the ball doesn't go in the court; it hits the top of the net. But that's why I'm saying what spin like if you notice with Rando, I didn't ask Rando what grip they use. Did you notice that? I didn't say what grip do you use. I say what spin are you trying to put on the ball? Because that's going to help me understand the grip. Players don't understand grips. I'm just being very honest with you. They understand it to like show you, but when it comes to what they're actually doing, 80% of players think they use a continental, and about 10% of players actually use a continental. So that's the disconnect. Any tip for generating pace from the baseline on an incoming slow, deep ball? My ball often falls into the net. Do I need to step into it, or change my typical topspin baseline forehand shot? You're a 4-0. What's up, Philip? All right, so yeah, so what's happening is you're not using an air target. That's really the issue. The issue is you don't have an air target. So when you have a slow ball and the ball is dropping and you're trying to hit it hard to trying to drive it, and then the ball just drops into the net. What you have to think of is an air target. Let me ask you something, Philip. On that ball, do you specifically have an air target? Do you specifically have a height over the net where you're trying to make the ball cross over? Or are you just thinking of hitting it hard and that's when it drops into the net? Chances are, I would guess, that you don't have an air target, but I'd be interested to hear from you. Chances are you're not thinking, oh, I'm trying to hit this ball 4 feet over the net. Chances are you're just thinking, I'm trying to hit it hard and I'm trying to speed the ball up, and you might be jumping a little bit. I'd be interested. How do I aim for placement? I hit the ball and spray it goes over the net rather than trying to place it. Hey, Skip. Yeah, so what you can do simply is just let's take you to the strategy board. I would do something very simple at first. Why does it look like my screen? It just kind of looks like it's dirty. Give me a second. I'm going to try to clean the. Give me a second here. Let's see if like this can. I'm just going to wipe this. You don't have an air target. That's why I asked, Philip. The reason you're hitting the net is because gravity is taking advantage of the fact that you don't have an air target. So you get this slow ball and you're trying to hit it hard and the ball just drops into the net. Every single time you hit the ball, you need to know exactly how high over the net you're aiming. You got to know exactly how high you want that ball to cross over the net. And you obviously don't have an air target, which is why I said, do you have an air target? You said no. So every time you hit the ball, have an air target. The easy way to do that is get a helium balloon, tie it to the net, have it float 3 or 4 feet over the net, and just rally with someone and try to hit the balloon. Watch how consistent you become. Now, obviously, as you step inside the court, aim lower over the net. As you move back, you want to aim higher over the net. That's because you have a shorter and farther distance for the ball to travel. What people usually do is they alter the speed they hit the ball. When they go inside the court, they hit a little softer to keep it in, but then when they move back, they hit it really hard because they have a far distance. When what you should alter is the height you aim. So you can basically hit the ball the same speed, just hit lower over the net when you're inside the court, and when you move back, aim higher over the net. So somebody was talking about having a target. So this is really simple. Just, well, you know what? I'll use this. I'll use these guys. So just go out to the courts if you don't have great aim and you've got quadrants here. And all you're going to do, I'm not joking, is just drop the ball and hit. And you can even start at the service line if you'd like. And if you want to take like a jump rope or something and put it right in the middle so that you truly have quadrants in your mind or right in front of you, just drop the ball and tap it. Don't even worry about technique so much. Just drop and tap it and aim for one of these four targets, one of these four quadrants. And then do it from here, do that for 3 minutes, then do it from here, do it for 3 minutes, do it from here. It's no different than just starting close in basketball and moving back, or starting close when you're putting on the green and you move back. You're just building confidence, building technique. You're building the ability to hit a target. But simple, something really simple like that will make all the difference in the world. And of course, you got to have an air target too. Every time you hit the ball, you got to know exactly how high over the net you are aiming. Gigs, I got a problem with my backhand slice. I'm right-handed and always slice from left to right intuitively. Yep. That sometimes leads to the ball floating wide to the left. Any tips to straighten out the slice? Absolutely. Uh, the reason that is happening is because you're allowing the racket to go below your hand. And when the racket goes below your hand, then the swing goes from outside the ball to inside the ball, and that's when the ball curves to the left and it goes out. So what you have to do, and sorry, I'm demonstrating this left-handed because the video is reversed. So this is not going to look very good. I'm demonstrating a left-handed backhand to make it look right-handed. But what you have to do is you have to think of keeping your hand below the ball, right? So here's the ball. Here's the ball. Keep your hand down and try to hit on the outside of the ball. Keep your hand below the ball and lead with the outside edge, like you're carving around the ball, and that will straighten it out. When that's your swing thought, it'll fix it. Good question. Very good question. That's a question that really helps out a lot of players. I played for 8 months, and right now in third year of college, I'm 24 years old. I want to be a professional tennis player. How to register for a tournament in tennis? I'm from India. When it comes to the Indian tennis world, I don't know much. So I would contact just a local tennis club, contact your nearest club and nearest pro, and ask them where the nearest tennis tournaments are. Otherwise, I can't help you. I have no idea. I know nothing about India. Should I swing early to make it go cross court? Yes, you can do a couple things. You can swing early, you can stand a little closer to the ball, you can have a more open stance, but you got the idea. Yes. I mean, here's the thing. How do you teach children the trophy position? Yeah, I'll give you that. Um, the idea here is the fact that you're just even thinking about, when you're early you tend to hit the ball left, and when you're if on the forehand, right, if you're right-handed, if you're like way too far out in front, the ball goes left as a right-hander, and if you're late, then the ball's going to go right as a right-hander. Reverse that for lefties. So yes, you do have to be a little bit early to get on the outside of the ball. All right. uh in the room, my wife, I'm thinking about her and the tennis, of course. Oh my gosh, that is so funny. um Let's see here. There was a question that I just wanted to answer. Hold on just a second. Hold on, hold on. Oh, here we go. All right. What's up, Rick? Good to see you. On lobs, if I play toes on the service line, sometimes instead of lobs back, the opponent drills hard forehands, which is very hard to deal with from the service line. How to deal with these opponents? If they're the type of person who doesn't lob it back, then you move up. The toes on the service line is because you're expecting a lob. But if you have like intel on the opponent and they don't lob, and you're like, look, Gary hasn't lobbed since like the pandemic. It's like, why are we putting our toes on the service line? Then you're going to close off the net because he doesn't lob. What's up, A? What string tensions for me? Oh, I know nothing about string. It's not even my thing. I don't pay attention to strings. I mean, I'm demonstrating with a racket that has a broken string. So I apologize. Ask Ryan your tennis questions. Um, hey, what's up, Tennis Tunes? What's up, Brett? Oh, you know Rick? Oh, that's awesome. Let's see here. Let's see. Any recommendations for the sec? Oh, the question was trophy position for kids. Wasn't that I think that was the question. That's what I wanted to answer. Yeah, it's really simple. You take a birthday hat. I invented this back in 2014. I was teaching a bunch of 8-year-olds how to serve, and I told them that unicorns cannot serve correctly because the racket would hit the horn. So it's very simple. You put a birthday hat on your head. You don't wear it like a ponytail, because if you wear it like a ponytail, then when you look up, there's nothing to hit. So you wear it kind of where the logo is on your hat, right? So when you look up, it's more up, and then you make this move. So you teach a trophy position by when you lift the racket, the tip of the racket points the same direction as the chest, and then you hit a birthday hat. And when you do that, you will teach the perfect trophy pose. Yep, yep, yep. So if you that is my one like unique contribution to tennis. If you see anybody using a birthday hat, just know who invented it? I'm not the first one to think of a cone. Vic Braden was having people hit cones off their head 60 years ago. Like, those orange cones that you wear and that you would have to hold. I was just the one who decided, let's tailor that to a birthday hat. I tried to come up with the saying, swing late to go straight. Is that accurate? I like it, Skip. Yeah. So I know for me, when I contact my backhand late, my backhand is much better. My backhand is definitely my better shot. Um, I mean, I don't play tennis anymore. I haven't played. I probably will never play tennis again. I don't really see a time when I would play tennis again. I don't really enjoy playing tennis. I don't really enjoy watching tennis. I just like teaching tennis. Um, when I was in my early 20s, I got benchmarked as a 5.0, which if you know what benchmarking is, it just means you can't appeal it. So I was not allowed to appeal. And I was an pretty good tennis player, I guess. And my backhand, I loved my backhand. And on my backhand, I always played my best tennis when I played it late. When I played the backhand late or it felt late, that's I mean, it just felt amazing. That's when I felt like I hit my best backhand. So I like it. Play it late, play it straight. I like it. How to hit hard with control? Yeah, so you're going to control whatever you're able to spin. Right? So spin is how you add control. I don't care if you're, a billiard ball. I don't care if it's soccer. I don't care if it's volleyball. I don't care if it's baseball and you're throwing a pitch. I don't care if it's American football. Go Eagles. Um, sorry, just got to show. It's just like the Super Bowl champs. I just got to show that. Um, but I can tell you that whenever you spin something, you're able to add control to it. So if you're hitting the ball hard and you're really like the spin is dwindling because you're adding all the spin or adding all the speed, that's when you're going to feel out of control. So you do whatever stroke, serve or backhand or forehand, whatever you're hitting and you're trying to hit it hard, you do go birds. What's up, Skip? Thanks, man. Whenever you are you local, Skip? Are you in the Philly area? uh, whenever you're hit swinging fast, you have to allocate some of that racket speed to spin. Got to add some of it, right? Can you demonstrate the proper two-handed backhand? Of course. Everything starts with the grip. So the bottom hand is a continental. I am right-handed, but I'm going to demonstrate it like my natural way. It's going to look lefty, and I apologize. I can demonstrate it the other way too. Let's see. A skip in this local area? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he grew up here and he's living somewhere else. I don't know. So really simple. The bottom hand, continental. Top hand, Eastern. Elbows out. You split step as the opponent hits. You then turn the body just past 90 degrees. And your racket is what is called on edge. So notice you cannot see the strings because my racket's on edge. My back elbow's up because when the elbow drops, the racket opens. So when the elbow's up, then the racket is on its edge. I could turn around and face you, and I'm back in the ready position again. The backswing on a two-handed backhand is just a ready position behind you. See how that works? From here, you're going to drop the body and get the racket below the ball as you step. Notice my strings are tilted down. When the strings are tilted down prior to hitting, they will face forward as you hit. You're trying to spin up the back, as you can see. If your racket is straight up and down in the back, which is what beginners do, and even some like beginner and like intermediate players who are still stuck in this technique, what ends up happening is the racket face then becomes open. This is why beginners always hit the ball over the fence. People always hit the ball over the fence because they think the racket should be straight up and down in the back. Well, your arms are a pendulum, so the racket opens up by the time you get to the ball. So have your racket closed, and then when you get to the ball, then the strings are forward and the racket is square. You then lift up from the shoulders. You do not want to bend from the elbows. This is super common. Watch players hit backhands. They do a bicep curl with their lead arm. They do a bicep curl, very short swing. They frame it all the time. So what you want to do is lift from the shoulders, like you're doing shoulder raises at the gym. That's what Djokovic does. He lifts from the shoulders and then he bends and he shows the armpits, air the armpits, ATA, Vic Braden. So elbows out, split step, change the grip, bottom hand to a continental. Back elbow is up. That way the racket's on its edge, making it very easy to drop the racket below the ball and close the racket face. So you can swing away from your body as you come up with your legs, spinning up the back of the ball. Show your armpits because you lift from the shoulders, not the elbows, and then finish with your elbows high, showing your armpits when you're done. That is how you hit a two-handed backhand. Uh, any suggestion techniques to force yourself to commit to your shots in a match instead of slowing your racket speed down? Yeah. So anytime you're slowing your racket speed down, it's because you don't have enough spin. So I'm not saying like the more spin, the better, but you got to have at least like a baseline amount of spin. So one of the easiest ways that you can trick yourself into hitting a ton of spin is to try to hit the south pole of the ball with the top frame of the racket. Yeah, happy to help, Gabby. Hey, Gabby, you always leave the nicest messages on my videos. Tons of hearts, and she says like, "Amazing video, you're the best." Like it's awesome. I always have a smile on my face every time you comment. So thank you so much for that, by the way. And like for all of you, if you do comment on my videos, like I know who you are. Not like I'm like watching you eat dinner with your family. Like that's creepy. I don't mean that I know who you are. I mean, like, I recognize your handle over and over again. I'm not some like weirdo, but I'm just saying, like, I know who you are, meaning I see the people who comment all the time, and I really appreciate that. So thank you so much. So check this out. If you want to have like aggressive racket speed and not just push the ball, it all comes down to the amount of spin you put on the ball. So we want to try to hit the bottom of the ball with the top frame. And when you do that, you'll go like this, right? Like tennis, here's what you have to hear. Tennis is an edge sport. Tennis is an edge sport. You go to, except on the volley that I explained earlier. But tennis is an edge sport, whether it's a serve, whether it's a forehand, whether it's a backhand, whether it's like a the underspin backhand, slice backhand. You're leading toward the ball very much so with like an edge. And so when you're hitting a forehand, you're trying to lead toward the ball with the edge. Now, sure, you can try to flatten it out here and there, but that's not the question. The question was, why am I short arming and like why am I afraid to commit to my shot in a match situation? It's because the player doesn't have enough spin. So if that player swings really fast, the ball is going way out. So you have to have control for the power. So try to hit the bottom of the ball with the top edge and you go this way. You make this move. Where's my Eagles cap? It might be, I don't know. Is that what you asked? Where's your Eagles cap? I had it on yesterday. I don't know. I don't know. I'm wearing this one. I felt like it matched the like the black on my shirt, so I wore the black hat. Uh, hey, what's up, Nick? When you're hitting your serves, do you feel like your non-dominant arm is generating force, sending the dominant shoulder going up in the air, or is it only stopping you from rotating? Great question, Nick. By the way, I had a lesson with Nick like 2 hours ago, live on Zoom. So good to see you again, buddy. All right. So yes, I just had this question. So there's a gentleman, a guy I teach who's friends with Brandon Nakashima, and I just taught him. And Nick, I talked to you about him. So we were working on his serve. He went to UVA with Brandon, and high level player. And we're working on his serve. And there was a slight detail that I noticed about his serve, Nick, that will help answer the question you just asked. That is a very niche question. I love it. The question was, is the use of the non-hitting hand tucking in against the body, or I'm sorry, is the use of the non-hitting hand solely for stopping the body's rotation so your arm accelerates, your hitting arm accelerates, or does it actually help you accelerate and go shoulder over shoulder and accelerate the racket? Nick, you're onto something. The answer is yes, it does both. It helps you to accelerate the racket and it helps to stop the racket or stop the body so you accelerate the racket in that way as well. Here's the way it works. When you toss, for most players, they tend to toss with their palm facing up, all right? It's important that when your arm comes down, that you turn and go down, almost like you're dunking someone's head under, and like in a pool, and you're like, pushing their head under the water. If you're just like messing around in the shallow end, that's kind of the idea, right? You're pushing down and then tucking in. I don't want your arm just dropping passively with your palm up, which is what this player was doing. I want you rotating and then pushing down. And so you watch. Look at Ben Shelton. Watch his palm. When he serves and his palm is like this, he then turns it so his palm faces the net, then pushes down, and that gets a shoulder over shoulder. And as he's doing rotation, and then he pulls it in, and the hitting arm accelerates. So, yes, the shoulder over shoulder is assisted by the push, but you just don't want your palm up. You want to turn and then push down. Excellent question, Nick. Not surprised. Not surprised by the excellent question at all. You need to practice. Oh, there was a Gary, I think, was answering a question that's up here. Gabby, the two-handed backhand volley. Yes, first off, the two-handed backhand volley is a much better shot than people think. People think, oh, it's for beginners. You're going to tell Martina Hingis that she's a beginner and that shouldn't use the two-handed backhand volley. So the two-handed backhand volley, elbows out. Remember, elbows out. Everyone should be able to smell your armpits. None of this stuff. When you have your elbows down in your ready position, when you turn, your racket does this. When your elbows are out, when you turn, the racket's like this. The key to a two-handed backhand is you need momentum. So it is very important that you turn, hit, then step. The step on a volley comes after contact. Turn, hit, step. What most players do is they step and now they have no momentum. And then they hit and then they have to swing. The two-handed backhand volley is best hit prior to the foot hitting the ground. Hit the ball, then step. Another thing that's really going to help you, Gabby, is to think of playing the ball late. Think of playing the ball next to your ear rather than way out in front. When you get out in front, you start doing this stuff like you're playing lacrosse or casting a fishing line. It's very much, we're not really moving our arms, we're turning our body. So we turn the body, then we hit, and you want to keep your body facing the net post when you're done. And you're just kind of making this move a little bit, but we want to make sure we're not doing this. We're making this move, but we're doing that as we hit the ball. I'm sorry, as we step. Turn, hit, step. But elbows out is going to make a world of difference. Give me 1 second, everybody. I'm going to get a sip of water. Can I mute myself? I think I can. Really quick, thank you all for being here. If you would like me to be your coach, if you would like me to coach you, if you want me to help you with your serve, you want me to put you side by side with Taylor Fritz or Roger Federer or Nick Kyrgios or any pro, right? Maria Sakkari or Coco Golf for the forehand, backhand, any part of your game, or you want me to analyze your matches. I'm holding a sale right now. Typically, my analysis lessons, if you'd like to just support me in my channel, typically, my lessons are $150. This is where you send me a swing vision match and I go through the match. I screen record points, like 2 or 3 dozen points, and I go through the points, teaching you core position, shot selection, the tactics, the strategies, where you need to hit the ball when your opponent comes to the net, what type of lob is going to help you win more points, where to hit low volleys versus high volleys, the return of serve, tactics, strategies, you got it. Then click the description. I have two types of lessons. I have lessons that are live on Zoom, and I have lessons that are called video analysis lessons. Just think of it as synchronous and asynchronous. The live Zoom lesson, I'm talking to you, right? Going through the videos. Asynchronous, a lot of times players are busy or they just don't have the time to even based on where they are in the world, to get on a call with me. So I'll just make it on my own and I'll send it to them. Right now, the one where I make it on my own and I send you the match analysis or a serve analysis or a forehand backhand analysis, um, instead of $150, they're $100 if you use the coupon code video50 on my website. You'll save 50 bucks. It will be the best tennis lesson you ever take, guaranteed. Click the description. If you're on your device, tap the screen. Up will pop the title of this video. Tap on the title and the description will pop up and you can check out the link and you can click the link and use the coupon code video50. If you sign up during the live stream, which I'll be on the live stream for probably another 20 minutes, if you click, maybe a little longer, but if you grab one during the live stream, I will call out your name. Oh, and only 50 people can use the coupon code. So people were already using it this morning. So I would hurry up if you're going to. All right, let's see what we got here. I've had a match analysis done. It was great. I bought more. Yes, you did. Thank you so much. What is the best footwork for a short ball? Gabby with the amazing questions. I love it. All right, there are a few choices. Thank you, Rick. I appreciate that. Thank you for letting everyone know. All right, so here's how it works. There are a couple different footworks that you can use. First, you can use uh, what is called a front foot hop. So a front foot hop is where you lean in on your front foot, you hit, and then you hop. Let's see if I can do this lefty to make it look like I'm right-handed. All right, let's see if I can do this. Where you step in, you hit, and then you hop. The reason you have to learn a front foot hop is because when you step on your front foot, as your hitting arm goes forward, your back leg kicks behind you. You ever go bowling and the foot kicks behind? That's just physics, right? Newton taught us that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So when your racket's going forward, when your right arm's going forward, your right leg wants to kick back. Well, if you're going forward, your weight's going in. Well, if your back foot's kicking behind, there's no foot to go. So you have to hop to keep your lower body under you so you don't break your nose. So the front foot hop is a great way to move through a ball. It's a great way to handle a high ball. And it's a great footwork to use when you're not moving particularly quickly. If you're not moving super, super fast, then it's a great footwork to use. It can work on a low ball, but really the high ball is typically the footwork that you're going to get. The other stances or the other footwork I use on a short ball is called I call it the approach shot footwork. This is where the last step you take is the foot on the side where you're hitting. The last step you take is with the foot on the side where you're hitting. So let's say I'm hitting on my right side. The last step I take is going to be with my right foot. I'm hitting on my right side. I'm going to step last with my right foot, then keep going. This allows you to just run through the ball, and this is great when you're running very fast. So think of it as if you're running really fast, the last step should be with the foot that's on the side where you're hitting, and then you just keep running. And if it's a little slower, and especially if it's a little bit higher, you can lean in, hit, and hop, and then move through that ball. Really good question. All right, let's see here. Um, is it normal to feel pain to certain types of balls from my opponent? Sometimes players who hit very hard or topspin, I feel my hand uh, reset a bit, or is it just a me thing? I'm not sure, Paul. Um, but it might just be you. It might just be something that you have. You're predisposed to just pain when there's a shock wave in your hand. I don't know. I wish. I wish I did know. What's up? Thank you. How hard should I hit my slice? My flat serve is like 90% of my full power. Exactly. Your flat serve. Yeah, Lori. So there's no such thing as a flat serve. So all serves have spin. I don't want you to think that, do I have like a real tennis ball? Here we go. I don't want you to think that like you're going to see Wilson going away from you, you know, when you hit the ball. The ball's always going to have rotation. It's just you dial it up and dial it down. So spin is how we add control. So uh, look, the three types of basic serves are right, like flat, slice, and topspin. But the flat and the topspin get all the limelight, but it's really the slice serve that is the star of the show. The slice serve, you can hit it for accuracy, you can hit it fast, you can hit it for consistency. It's great for learning the continental grip. It's the first type of serve I teach. I don't teach a flat serve first, and I don't teach a topspin serve first. You want to teach a slice serve first as a coach, especially when you're giving someone a continental grip. You don't want to have a continental and tell them now, oh, now you have to hit a flat serve, and now they have to like pronate more than they ever have before. No, you just embrace the fact that the racket's on edge. So you're 100% right. Um, that the idea is that you're going to put spin on those types of serves. Let me see. I think there was another. Let me see what that actual question was. I want to make sure that I get it. Um, I feel like some of the questions they like disappear. I don't know. I think it's a little weird, but it seems like some of the questions disappear after you read them. I don't know. It's weird. Uh, what should she do when she is losing? I don't know who you're talking about when you say she. I don't know. If you're, oh, by the way, don't assume that I've read the first part of your question. If you're going to write a question, write it as if you didn't even write it before. That way, when I read it, I get the whole context. Um, the kick feels impossible. Slice feels much more natural and goes in more often, but I just have to master the slice. Yeah, the slice is the star of the show. Nothing wrong with the topspin serve. You just have to make sure on the topspin serve that you allow the ball to come a little bit more over your head and then drop. So the topspin serve is contacted to the inside of your hand, like this, much more than like a flattened slice, which is like this. And that gives it room to go up, right? You go up as you hit. So from up behind your head, and you're going up like this. So the point when your racket is its highest on a topspin serve is actually after contact because we know topspin is going up, right? So you're going up as you hit the ball for topspin. So you have to go up on a topspin serve. That's why you have to toss a little bit more to the left because that allows you to contact to the inside of your hand. And then you can go up the back of the ball. All right, somebody was talking about poaching and doubles. How do you know when to poach as the volleyer? Very simple. It's just inside versus outside ground strokes. What you're about to learn in the next minute is going to make you the smartest doubles player at your tennis club, guaranteed. It's very, very simple. You just have to pay attention to inside versus outside ground strokes. Sorry, the video reverses. So it's returner's partner, server's partner, and server, but the camera is flipped here. So it's very simple. If this is you, and your opponent has that ball, you poach or you pinch. You make that move. Outside ground strokes are hit cross court. Inside ground strokes are hit down the line. Always? No. A lot? Yes. Enough that it's worth your while paying attention and using that to determine if you should hold your ground or pinch toward the center? Absolutely. If your opponent has this ball, they are much more likely to hit down the line than when they have that ball. People determine, and they don't even realize they're doing it. People determine where they are going to hit their shots in doubles based on which side of the body or on which side of the body they're making contact. If they're hitting the ball on this side, they hit that way. They're hitting the ball on this side of the body, they're hitting that way. It's no different than in baseball. If you went to Las Vegas and all you said is right-handed batters hit to left field and left-handed batters hit to right field, and every time there was a batter, you put $1 down, you would walk away. Whether they got on base, it was an out, it doesn't matter. You would be right more than you're wrong. You certainly would not be right every time. But in tennis, you don't have to be right every time. We're trying to win 55% of the points. When you win 55% of the points, you win the match 6-2, 6-3. If you've ever won 6-2, 6-3, you won 55% of the points. That's how it works. That's why you can have a set that seems so close, and you lost 1-6, because every game went to deuce and multiple deuces. So it's not like you win 90% of the points. When you dominate a match, you win 55, 56% of the points, right? So all you have to do is just pay attention. Inside ground stroke versus outside ground stroke. The inside ground stroke is toward the inside of the court. The outside ground stroke is the ground stroke on the outside of the court. Outside ground strokes are hit cross court. Inside ground strokes are hit down the line. If you just think of it that way, and you really only go, especially if the outside ground stroke is a backhand, forget about it. It's going cross court. You make that pinch, and then where do you hit this ball? Right at the legs of the net player. That, my friend, will make you the smartest doubles player at your club. Does it mean you'll be the best doubles player? No, but you'll be the smartest doubles player. All right. What advice would you give for playing against taller players? Yeah, I mean, really, the strategies that are correct are going to be fine for um, all height players. But what you may think of doing is standing a little bit farther back than normal. If they have a big serve, stand a little bit farther back than you normally do. But look, when your opponent comes to the net, you should be involving them anyway. So I could say hit low to them, but you're going to do that against Diego Schwartzman too. Can you show the motions and give some drills for topspin backhand and flat backhand? Because as a 14-year-old, I grew up a bit and my forehand adapted, but two-handed backhand doesn't. Thank you, Ryan. Yeah. Okay. So when you're thinking about a topspin backhand, a topspin backhand, you just have to think of dropping the racket more below the ball and then try to hit the south pole of the ball with the top frame of the racket. Try to hit the top frame of the racket against the bottom of the ball. So if you're struggling to hit a topspin backhand, just whether it's a one-hander or a two-hander, take the racket back high, have a high back elbow, and that way, if your elbow's low, then the racket's open and you can't do this. You need a high back elbow, whether a one-hander or a two-hander. Drop the racket down below contact with the racket closed, and then think of hitting the south pole of the ball with the top frame of the racket, which would make the ball go straight up in the air and land on your head. But when you attempt that, what you end up doing is you end up missing the edge and you just spin up the back of the ball. When it comes to hitting flat backhands come from not dropping the racket very far below the ball, if at all, and then barely closing the face so you can smack into the back. The amount of closure, so you can understand, this is if you're going to hit a topspin backhand where like a lot of topspin, you close way below the ball, strings are down at about a 45-degree angle, and then you try to hit the bottom of the ball with the top frame of the racket, which turns into spinning up the ball. But if you're going to hit a flat backhand, you don't drop so low, you drop more level to the ball, and your racket is only a few degrees closed, and then you go more into the back. The follow through also makes sense too, because on a topspin, you're going more up. On a flatter backhand, you're going more forward. So when you hit your flat backhand, you have to feel like you're handing your racket to your opponent. All right, let's see here. Do you advise using lead tape in the hoop for more head heavy balance? Ideal basketball. I am not someone who understands to any degree strings, grips, tension, lead tape. The person to contact is on Instagram, Main and Crosses, not mains and crosses, Main and Crosses on Instagram. Send him a DM, tell him Ryan sent you. His name is Smith. He strings for the pros. He strings for Kalamazoo, Orange Bowl. The guy's amazing. What's up, Ferris? Maybe I'm taking the back of the racket drill too literally. When I try to develop muscle memory, I feel like I'm spinning the racket too much. My serves are out of control at 10% of the time. If your serves are only out of control 10% of the time, that's pretty good there, Ferris. Yeah, so here's the thing. Yes, if you're trying to go toward the ball with the back of your racket and you're actually doing that, and then as you get to the ball, you've got to turn the racket, it almost feels like you're putting. It feels like you're doing this when you putt. Like imagine spinning a putter, right? Maybe that's a hard racket to see. Maybe I do this. If you had a putter and you just spun it as you hit and you're just trying to time it perfectly, yeah, it absolutely is. You're exaggerating that a bit. The way you hit slice with pronation is the let's take a slice serve You're going to pronate on every serve, topspin serve, flat serve, slice serve. The key to slice on a slice, sorry, pronation on a slice serve is you're going to pronate 180 degrees, where, I mean, obviously there's shoulder rotation as well, but the goal is that your strings face 180 degrees different from beginning to end. The way to have that is if that's 180 degrees, more of that turn happens after contact. So you want to think of cutting the ball and then turning. Though that isn't what happens, that is the way you have to think of it in order to do it correctly. So think of spinning and then turning. So really all we need is on edge, Ferris. So if you're coming in like this, it's just too much. You got too much of a good thing. You put too much syrup on your waffles, it just makes soggy waffles. So you got to lead, cut, then turn. That's the swing thought that you want to have in order to pronate correctly, and then it's a little more controlled. You're not just turning the racket. You feel, because it's not actually what happens, but you feel like the racket stays at a constant position through contact, and then try to have the turn happen after contact. Again, it's not what's going to happen, but it's going to help you to have control and to do the correct thing. Can you explain flashlight technique, and is it worth trying? Are you talking about on the forehand? I don't know what you mean, flashlight technique. Are you talking about on the forehand where the butt cap points at the ball like a flashlight? Is that what you mean? And then you make this move? I'm not sure what you mean by the flashlight. I don't know what you mean. I thought most serve is body sideways. It is, Billy. You're right. You're absolutely right. Let's see. I don't, again, Skip, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Oh, I understand what Gary's saying. Um, yeah, the amount that your body is sideways is the most on a topspin serve, but you're better off trying to keep your body to some degree sideways on all serves. You don't want to be facing your target, like directly towards your target, but you're a little bit closed on a flat serve, a little more closed on a slice serve, even more closed on a topspin serve. Best overhead drill. Okay, so when it comes to overheads, a couple things. One, hit your overheads 50% speed. Number two, put side spin on your overheads. If you're moving backward, that's actually the perfect time to put top spin on them. But spin your overhead and hit them 50% speed. When you're hitting an overhead in singles, either hit the ball where your opponent is if they're in the corner, because they're going to run to the middle and now you're wrong footing them. And in doubles, you can go to the open court, but if they're in a corner and they lob it up, hit to that same corner, and they're moving to the center and you hit behind them. And in doubles, overheads go to the person closer to you. Doubles isn't a game of avoid your opponent. Doubles is a game of hit to the correct opponent. In doubles, they've doubled the number of people, but they haven't doubled the size of the court. So when singles players play doubles, they have a tough time because singles is about find open court typically, right? Not always, but much more than doubles. So then in doubles, the singles player is looking for open court, which means they're avoiding their opponents. And when you avoid your opponents in doubles, you end up avoiding the court. So doubles is all about hitting the ball to the opponent who is standing. Oh, thank you, 42. Thank you so much. Doubles is all about. It's on my website. You can go to it right now. Just create an account and you can check out the 20 tips. Doubles is about hitting the ball to the opponent who is standing where you're standing. So it's very, very simple. You want to be a great doubles player? It's so simple. When you're in the back, hit the ball to the other team's back player. When you're at the net and you got a high volley or a medium volley and overhead, hit it at the legs of the other net player. Sure, you can hit to the middle, but the baseliner knows you're going to the middle. So then they make this move and they get the ball back. If you're constantly trying to hit the ball to the open court in doubles, you will either be missing or you'll be hitting to the back person. Baseliners prolong the point by hitting it to the other baseliner. That's why the cross court rally occurs all the time in doubles. And at the net, your job is to end the point. And you don't end the point by hitting it to the baseliner because they're not standing where you're standing. And you don't end the point by hitting to the middle because they go and get it. You end the point by hitting it at the legs of the other net person. They have no time to react. There was a question here on strategy. Let's say, you're such a great teacher. Just curious as why you don't enjoy playing tennis anymore. You don't play at all. JC, no, the last time I'm 46, the last time I played tennis was probably 6 years ago. So maybe 6, 7 years ago. One of the members at the tennis club challenged me to a match. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. Probably because my body will hurt and I don't feel like having my body hurt. Uh, when you teach a lot of tennis on court, you come home and your feet ache, your back hurts, you're sick and tired of having to go to the bathroom for 8 hours. But when client after client comes in, what are you going to do? Just like the next client comes in and be like, I'll be back in 10 minutes. Like they're like, Ryan, I'm paying for my time. So I was sick and tired of holding in going to the bathroom for 8 hours all day. Um, sick and tired of not seeing my family, not having dinner with my family, not being able to take them to school in the morning or pick them up. Or, I mean, heck, for the first 8 years of my kids' lives, they never saw me on a Saturday because I was building 2 minute tennis and I would leave at 4 a.m., get to the tennis club at 5 a.m., and film for 2 hours before my lessons at 7. Then I wouldn't get home until 6 or 6:30. So I'm just tennised out. I am a teacher. Like that's my profession. If I didn't teach tennis, I'd be a high school or like science teacher. Like I just love teaching. I think it's so much fun to teach. Um, I would much rather teach than play. Obviously, this is what I do for a living, and I haven't played tennis. I'll go on a limb. I'm 46. I'll never play tennis again. Not that I have anything against it. And also, when you run a business, um, watching tennis, if I'm sitting just watching tennis, I'm not making money for my family and I'm not spending time with my family. I'm the only tennis player really in my family. So or past tennis player. So I don't watch it and I don't play it. But my daughter plays the cello and she's quite good. And so I've been a cellist my whole life. So my fondest memories growing up, now that I think about it, are actually of music than of tennis. Um, but yeah, like teaching is what makes me happy. It's why I come on here and I'm like, oh, I'll go live for an hour and talk to people and help them improve their game. Like that excites me. That gets me all excited. So I don't know. There you go. I hope that answered your question. All right, let's go. I'm a beginner and it's hard for me to control how hard I hit the ball. How to fix it? Great question. You have to control the length of the swing, right? Control the length of the swing. So typically what happens is as a beginner, the swing gets very big and you see pros and they're just like, right? When we get in a car for the first time when we're 16 years old and we're driving, we don't drive it like the Formula One drivers. It's very slow, it's controlled. So if you're a beginner, control the length of your swing rather than trying to control the size of your swing. If you're trying to hit the ball a little slower, use a shorter swing. A little harder, use a longer swing without getting into tons of specifics, which could take quite a while. Think of it that way. Think of it that way. All right, let's see what we got. The only person I watch on YouTube. Thanks, JC. Um, Here we go. Here, can you explain the timing on the pinpoint stance when you bring your foot up? Gabby, why are you like 4 for 4 with amazing questions today? Holy smokes. All right. The timing of the foot coming up on a pinpoint stance is directly related to the height of your toss. For instance, you look at Felix Auger-Aliassime. He has a higher toss than Casper Ruud. But Casper brings his foot up earlier. Felix brings his foot up later. Let me explain. The pinpoint stance, I'm going to recommend that you pay attention to, as Gabby is asking, when your foot comes up. Because for many of you, let's say you have a very high toss, which means you're going to have a late step, right? Like you're not going to toss to the moon and then step, and then you have to wait here for an hour until the ball comes down, right? So the goal is when your foot hits the ground, you immediately explode up. Well, if you have quite a high toss, you have to wait a bit, quite a bit of time for this foot to come forward. So what you want to think of is if you have a low toss, bring the foot up at the same time. That's what Casper does. Watch Casper. It looks like Casper has a string tied between the foot and the hand. Do you see this? Imagine I have a string from this foot to my hand and I'm pulling it. That's the way you want to think of it. It's this. And when you watch Casper, go on YouTube. Oh, you are on YouTube. When you leave here, check out Casper's serve in slow motion, and you're going to see this move. They're connected, but excuse me, that's only possible when he has a when you have a low toss. If you have a higher toss, you got to be more like Sabalenka, where you toss and then you wait an hour because her toss is ridiculously and crazy high, and there's no reason for it. But I digress. The toss is super high, then you have to wait a bit to bring the foot in, and then you explode. Now, the timing of this is when your foot hits the ground, you should immediately explode. You don't get cooked in the squat. You don't just sit here. Now, for those of you who are at pinpoint stance, but you struggle with the foot coming around, let me show you the fix for bringing the foot around. If you're someone who brings your foot around, which opens you up, doesn't allow you to hit a great topspin serve, yada, 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 okay? Just such a power leak. The fix for bringing the foot around is to work on foot faulting with your front foot. See, when you're a pinpoint stance server, I want you to move your foot like JJ Wolf or Felix or Ben Shelton. But JJ is the perfect example of this. Number one at Ohio State years ago. What you want is to try to foot fault with your heel. That points the knees back and makes it nearly impossible for you to then bring this foot around. It's not going to happen. You don't want to keep your foot where it is in its angle and think of foot faulting with your toe. You want to think of foot faulting with your heel. That points the knees back. By the way, this is not my hip, this is my butt cheek. When players are saying, oh, stick your hip out, or coaches say, stick your hip out, I completely disagree. You're going to get back pain. It's going to hurt players, especially if you're not 16 years old, because I'm not 16 and it would hurt me if I did that over and over again. So what you want to do is feel like you're sitting in a chair. I'll even show you. You want to feel like you're sitting in a chair like this, and it's your butt cheek that's sitting on it. So when you look at JJ and you look at Felix and you see this round thing, that's not his hip. That's the butt cheek right there. The knees are pointing back, and you can see that my heel is going over the baseline. That keeps your your back foot behind you, and then you explode out of there as you go up into the serve. Foot fault with your heel. Okay, we got to talk about the timing of that. My fault. If you have a low toss, you want to foot fault before you toss. If you have a high toss, you toss, then you foot fault with your heel. Got it? Low toss, foot fault before you toss. If you have a high toss, toss, then try to foot fault with your heel. Do you believe in the trophy position as the birthday hat movement is a continuous motion? Uh, yes. Hey, Joao, what's up? Um, So, do you believe in the trophy position as the birthday move as a continuous motion? Yes. Do not pause. Do not pause. Don't go to here and pause. It is a continuous motion. It just keeps going. There's no reason to pause it. What is the exact timing of the toss in relation to the hitting arm? Yeah, ball up, tip down. Ball up, tip down. So you can have your arms coming up at the same time, but you should lead with the toss and then have your wrist curled. Look at Pericard. He's like this, tip down. If you're a coach and you see someone in like the waiter's tray is wrist extension. It's wrist extension. We want to be flexed. So you want to feel like you're lifting a kettlebell and it's really heavy. Well, what would your wrist do? It would curl, right? When you lift the racket, you want to be like this, strings down. And that's what then allows you to hit the birthday hat off of your head. So the racket, it's toss, lift, arms can come up at the same time, but it's like Usain Bolt is racing against the other racers, but he's in the lead, right? So they're going down the track at the same time, but he's winning the race. You want the tossing arm to win the race, but they're coming up at the same time. But you delay the racket because speed is distance over time. So if your racket's low, it's got a farther distance in the same amount of time. So it's got to go really fast. Do you have any tips to close the racket face on the two-handed backhand? Which hand should you focus on? Joao, smart question. Smart question. Somebody asked me this question before. I feel like it was recently in the last month or two. You can either focus, and really it's up to you. You can either focus on the top hand, the palm turning down, or the bottom hand curling. Now you can do both, but it's to each their own, what you think makes the most sense. But if you feel better thinking, okay, I want to curl the wrist, if you curl the wrist, it closes the racket and makes it so much easier to hit the spin you're looking for. Smart question. Who's your coach? Do you believe in the dominant eyes? Should we use tips about it in the serve? No, I think do we all have a dominant eye? Yes. Do, do I think it makes a difference? Like, we have to understand something. Um, if somebody is struggling with their technique, like if somebody is struggling for their lives in the emergency room, the doctor doesn't come in and go, quick, he's got a hangnail. It's like, look, can we put that to the side? Like the guy CPR, like he's like, this isn't good. This isn't good. Like that's kind of the idea. When you have a patient, you have to go to like the biggest things first. When you have a student who is really struggling with their backhand, their forehand, their serve, I can tell you that eye dominance, this idea of, your right eye dominant, so, or sorry, you're this eye dominant, so you should have an open stance, or you're this eye dominant, so you should have a closed stance. That's not how you determine stances. That's not how you determine anything. Um, High balls are open stance. Low balls, especially out in front of you, can be closed stance. You're not going to determine which stance by eye dominance. I think eye dominance is what coaches focus on when they don't really have much else to give. So take that for what it's worth. And you can read between the lines on that one. Can you explain the contact point, swing path, and purpose of pronation during a kick serve? Yeah, excellent. Good question. The contact point. Well, first we got to talk about the grip. Everything starts with the grip. So the grip is going to be knuckle on panel 2, heel pad on 1.5. So it's always best to have your knuckle and heel pad not on the exact same panel if you're going to hit a topspin serve. So move your heel a little bit more on top of the racket. When it comes to the toss, I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to demonstrate this right-handed, but it's going to look lefty to all of you. You want the toss to be more like it's going to hit your ponytail. So you toss and you try to make it hit your ponytail. Now, it doesn't have to be along the baseline. Like here, if I actually made it land on my ponytail, it wouldn't allow me to lean in. So I'm going to ask for the ball, like when I toss, I want the ball a little bit out in front of the court, but behind me, if you know what I mean. If I filmed from the back, it would look like it would hit my ponytail, but it would actually be out here. When you hit a topspin serve, you're looking to make this move. You're looking to swing up the back of the ball and you contact on the inside of your hand, going from the side of your hand to the above your hand. So you're thinking of making that move, right? As you hit. Now, pronation is a natural move that is going to happen, and pronation is just the bones in your forearm rotating, and it's a natural movement that occurs. Cavemen were pronating when they were throwing rocks at each other. This is nothing new. So whether you're doing a volleyball spike, you're throwing a football, you're throwing a baseball, any throwing action is going to have this type of movement, right? So we want that as an accelerant, and it's also injury prevention. It's a natural move that if you try to fight it, it's not going to help you. Now you'll see coaches, I think, and there's players. I don't know if it was who is the player? Is it Philip Husis? I forget who the player was who had a somewhat viral video on YouTube talking about when you hit a topspin serve, you go like this. You make this move and you actually carve up and over the ball. Well, that's certainly not what you do, and it's certainly not what he did. And you can just look at his serve, and it's not anywhere near what happens. You don't supinate when you hit any serve, you pronate on all serves. The pronation is one injury prevention, but it's also an accelerant. You're making this move. You're making this move as you hit the ball. So you're taking the racket from this position to this position. This position, like if I don't do anything, I just go like that and I hit the top of the ball and the ball goes straight down. So I'm squaring up the racket against the back of the ball by doing that. And that's helping me move the racket faster than if I just do that or I keep the racket at that angle. It you when you turn, when you turn, you get acceleration more than just extending your elbow or anything. Yes, there's wrist movement that is separate to the pronation, but the pronation just adds more speed. What you watch with Federer is when Federer hits his topspin serve, his strings obviously face the target at contact, but when he's done, his strings face the back fence. So it looks like this. Watch this. I'm going to stop at contact. I'm sorry, stop at the finish. Look where my strings are facing. My strings are facing the strategy board, right? So I'm making this move, but I'm not hitting with my strings facing the strategy board, obviously, because the ball's going that way. But when you pronate, you can swing faster through contact and you get more speed, and you can allocate that speed into the ball speed or the ball rotation. And then you get a real jump when the ball leaves. But if you're trying to curl around the ball, it's why you can't hit a topspin serve. You don't curl over a ball for topspin. You don't curl under a ball in golf. That's how it works. The ball's not on the strings for long enough to even curl around it anyway. Is likely to get lower back pain when hitting a kick serve? Depends, especially if you're prone to it, of course. Yeah. Now, if you're getting lower back pain, it might be that your toss is like way too far behind. I just gave a lesson to a college player uh, a couple days ago. What day is today? Tuesday. It might have been on Friday. His toss, I'd never seen a toss so far back. He's a good player. It's a good college player, and his toss was so far back. And I said, "Look, you're 20 years old right now, or whatever he is, but you're not going to be 20 forever. So you better change that toss." Let's see what we got. Is it a good idea to fix coming up on edge on the straight serve to practice topspin serves? Is it a good idea to fix coming up on edge on a straight serve? Oh, yes, 100%. That's why I promote Oliver, or I'm sorry, Olivier. I think that says Olivier, my fault. Um, there's a, the concept is when I'm helping someone with their serve, technically, I always get them to hit slice serves. I don't want to be working on your serve. Like if I'm on court with somebody, I say, hey, let's do a couple. Let's spend some minutes here on your serve, maybe a half an hour, and we're just going to sit here and we're going to work on your serve. At first, I ask them to hit slice serves because what does that promote? Promotes the right grip, or promotes on edge. It promotes not swinging toward their target, but swinging off to the side. So yeah. All right, guys, let's see what time it is. I got to make sure that I am here for the right amount of time for all of you. All right. I got 5 minutes left. I want to thank you all so much. Look, in the description, you can use coupon code video50 to save $50 when you take a lesson with me. It does not matter where you are in the world. Send me videos of your serve or your backhand or your forehand or of your matches or your net game. I will put you side by side with the pros, showing you what you do correctly and what you need to change in order to hit the best serve or the best backhand, the best forehand. These lessons are insane. I had 6 lessons that I made yesterday. That I did. I had 6 students I taught yesterday, 3 live on Zoom, but 3 in these video analysis lessons, like I'm telling you about now. So in the description of this video, you can use coupon code video50, and the link is there. You can grab a video analysis lesson with me. If you have Swing Vision, send me the link. I will watch your match. I will write tons of notes. I will then go step by step, point by point in each video or each point that you play. I'll record myself teaching you what to do, telestrating on the screen, just like on my YouTube videos you've seen. And I take all, I don't know, it could be like 30 different short little clips. I edit them all together. I just did one for I promised you I would read the testimonial. So this is a testimonial I received this morning from a match analysis I made last night. That was one of the 6 lessons that I did. All right. Let me see. Where is he? Here it is. All right. He wrote, wow, I am blown away. This was a match analysis. So he played a match. He was on Swing Vision. He sent me the Swing Vision uh, link. I made him a 49-minute A to Z, soup to nuts, single strategy video where I took the video he sent me and point by point, shot by shot, footwork by footwork, shot selection, court positioning, the tactics. I taught him how to improve and how to beat the guy who was playing. Says, I am blown away by the analysis in multiple ways. At a high level, I love the 5 scenario framework, blah, blah, blah. Take a lesson, you'll understand. The format of the analysis is awesome. The intro, the numerous examples that you show, the recap and summary at the end is all great. Pedagogy, I think is the way you pronounce that. It is the right length, the positivity, humor, metaphor, good focus, choosing what not to mention, and encouragement are all impactful. He wrote, and then, oh, by the way, after he got this, I woke up this morning, he had already purchased another lesson because he loved this one so much. Thank you for the analysis. I still have to process some more, but I'm excited to work on these solutions. So, yeah, these types of lessons, look, it's really simple. On court lessons, they're good. My on court lessons, they're good. On court lessons, you're handcuffed. You really are. The tennis court is a great place to practice, but it is not the best place to learn. It's that simple. Think about how much you've learned maybe in this and this. I mean, I'm in my socks in my basement. And how much have you learned? You've learned probably more in this hour if you've stayed with me than you have in any hour-long tennis lesson you've ever taken. Because when you're off the tennis court, you can learn it like learning. It's energy and energy. Information transfer. So I'm helping you understand what to do, right? I know that when I teach on court, I tend to teach too much because they're paying you for an hour, so you feel like you have to talk the whole time. But the student, just because you're teaching, doesn't mean they're learning, right? There's no such thing as teaching. There's only learning, right? I can't teach a chair how to dance because it can't learn. So there's only learning. So what's great is when you're off a tennis court, you can actually absorb a ton, and then you can take that information and go to the court and say, okay, I'm going to practice this one thing, or I'm going to practice this second thing. Practice, you don't always have to pay for practice. Pay for the info, don't pay for the practice. But if I'm teaching you, hey, turn with both hands on the racket, and I'm feeding you balls on court, well, you might have to hit 30 balls or 50 balls or 100 balls to really get used to that. Okay, great. Well, you're paying me for my time to feed you 100 balls, but I talked for like 8 words, right? So with this, with the video analysis, I can teach you 10 times the amount that you'll ever get in a single private lesson. And now you get to watch it over and over again. Now you can take all the information and the drills and the ideas that are tailored to you, not just some random YouTube video you come across or random live stream of me talking, but I'm actually putting you side by side with the pros or comparing your court strategy to the pros or high level college players. And when you have that product and that lesson, you then know exactly what to practice when you're on court. It's unbelievable. So save $50, click the link in the description. Use coupon code video50 to drop the price from 150 to 100. It will be the single best tennis lesson you ever take. Also, Ryan, I beat the slicer with the horrible forehand. You did? That's amazing. That's awesome. Honest review, I've taken 3 different stroke analysis and 3 different match analysis, and I cannot thank Ryan enough for the improvements I've had. There is no other replacement for his detailed info. Thank you, Joel. I was just, Joel, that was yesterday, right? Did I have a lesson with you yesterday? Sorry, all my days run together. So Joel's a good player, very good player, and very smart player. One of the Joel, I'm going to give you a compliment since you gave me one. One of the things I have to say about one of our viewers here, Joel, is whenever a player plays within them. Oh, it was last week. Okay, my fault. Maybe it was Friday or Thursday. I feel like it was on the recent side. Um, whenever someone plays within themselves, I love it, right? They're not wild, they're under control. They have great body control. I think that there you can do so much, and there's so much to work with when a student is under control, and when a student is not trying to hit too big a shot or a bigger shot than the moment needs. So good for you, Joao. It's always fun to watch you play. And he's a lefty too. I always love that. I don't love playing lefties, but I love coaching them because they're always messing with people. All right, Rick, you're the last question. I saw a guy with a great, powerful serve hit with a pinpoint where he pulled his front foot back instead of moving it back toward the da, da, da. Is there any drawbacks to this footwork? No. Mm, Look, there is absolutely that concept. There is absolutely the concept because you're trying to lean, right? So I have heard of players loving doing this, where like they bring this foot backward and you can see I'm kind of like falling over when I do that. So by bringing the front foot back, then it's very easy to lean and you create an angle that you may not be able to create if you're not used to your toss going into the court. And some players like I just can't toss into the court. So if tossing into the court really does not feel comfortable to you, you can kind of keep your toss where it is and actually move your your front foot back and now you're leaning into that toss, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's not the craziest thing in the world. I have heard of it. I've never taught anybody to do it, but it's not the craziest thing in the world. And obviously, he's got a really good serve. So thank you all so much. This has been an absolute blast. It is so much fun to coach tennis, and it's so much fun to I hope to give you a couple tips that are going to help you play, better tennis. And what do I say? Gain confidence, win more matches, and play much better tennis. So thank you all again. If you have any questions, go ahead and just write it in the comment section, even after this is posted. Send me an email if you want to. Like I talk on the phone to people all the time too. If you want to just hop on a phone call with me, thank you. You got it. You got it, Mac. If you want to just hop on a phone call with me, if you're outside the US, we'll get on a WhatsApp, or if you're in the US, I'll share my phone number with you, my personal cell. And we can just chat for 5 or 10 minutes. And we got this. You got this, Rick. And I'd be happy to talk to you about video analysis. Thank you, Gabby. If you want me to personally help you with your game. So you got this.